a home is worth $1 million, we still have to pay sale costs. We still have to pay buying costs, and there still is an expense to hold a property. So you're already at least taking, 8-10% off just before you even get into rehab.
Welcome back to the Cash Flow Podcast, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. I'm your host, Jayson Yoss, and today, my special guest, Brian Daly. Brian, good to see you.
How's it going? Good to see you,
man. Good. Before we get into it, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Rainforest Heating and Air. They service all of the Maricopa County Valley, including Phoenix, Tempe, and Scottsdale. And I also like to thank Daniels Plumbing. They handle San Diego, Los Angeles, Orange County, and the Inland Empire. Without their support, this show wouldn't be possible. Thanks, guys. Brian, good to see you, my friend.
You too, man. Let's do this. Ready.
Let's get after it. Owner of We Revive and the author of my favorite, The Real Report, drops every Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're still putting out some great knowledge.
Thanks, dude.
Is the mortgage industry giving you enough feedback?
Mortgage industry?
Yeah, the interest rate industry. Giving you enough?
All the news lately has been, it's just crazy. Trying to like comment on it, to digest it, to figure out what I think about it. It's like a full-time job now.
You mean when Trumpy comes on and just tweets out like, "Hey, we're gonna cap
credit card rates, you buy back mortgages, ban people from ban investors from buying houses all in a week."
Yeah, right now the DOJ is looking into the Fed chairman as well too.
Yeah,
so
that too, yeah.
This is plenty to go into your Tuesday update.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about. First of all, We Revive. Okay, talk to me about your company and what its main focus is.
It's relatively simple. We're a value add real estate investor. We try to buy properties that we can force value through construction. And primarily we work with real estate agents. They do a lot. We've tried doing the direct to seller stuff, and we still dabble, but man, it is hard work what real estate agents do, and they earn every dollar of that commission. So.
Our partners matter. We both our businesses work well with realtors, and that it's what make our business go round. Yeah. Look, we just joked about everything changing, but with the shifting landscape of our market, has your real estate investment philosophy changed at all? The way you approach deals, has that changed?
Of course. We're constantly, one of the reasons I write Real Reports, because I want to be ahead of the market. So we're constantly, at least on a monthly basis, looking at our buying formula, like what assumptions are we putting into that to come up with what we can pay for a house, and so that's constantly changing, just as where I think the market is today and where it's going, and then trying to read the tea leaves too on what properties are selling, what properties are selling faster than other properties, and especially when the market gets a little funky, as it has been over the last 2 years. And made plenty of mistakes, learning from those mistakes, but just refining what that buy box is, where we have confidence that we have an exit plan that is going to pan out.
What does funky then mean to you? How are we describing? What are you not going after anymore then?
It's more of a feeling based on the properties. But for instance, 2021, early 22. Properties without garages, no problem. Converted garages were all the thing because people wanted all the space, and there was not much to choose from, and everybody was buying whatever house came on the market. Now, when a home doesn't have a garage, it's either in an area where it's I won't say low income, but on the lower spectrum of price point, where people are still very motivated about living space and are willing to sacrifice the garage for extra square footage. But mostly stay away from garages, stay away from, freeways, stay away from busy roads, go drive the property. If the neighbor next door has 2 angry dogs, previously buyers would be fine with it. Now we have to worry about that. Buyers now look for reasons not to buy a property. Right. And so we have to try to find the properties that more buyers are going to want, that are going to be more in high demand.
Because you're so focused on the San Diego County market, what about this ever-changing industry that we're in? What about it has made it a little scary right now in San Diego?
It is very it's very inconsistent. I remember I was on with a panel of other investors, and that was a word that one of my buddies who was on the panel with me used, and I've been using it since. It really is challenging. Like, stuff makes a lot of sense on paper, and then even being in this business for 20 years now, and doing the flip stuff for 16, the stuff that I can justify over and over again on paper and with all the experience I have still doesn't pan out the way I think it's going to.
Right.
Sometimes it goes way better, and sometimes it goes way worse, and it kind of feels like we're on that cusp of we're walking a fine line right now of affordability and on price correction. Like, there's enough demand still, but like, we're close to being at the point of, like, we could correct 10%, or we could continue to go up 5%. So the fact that it's just harder and harder to predict what's going to happen is probably the scariest thing, because it feels like one shoe drops in the wrong direction, and then a lot of the assumptions we made about a property might not work out.
And California doesn't seem to be helping us out. I don't see the legislation being much more friendly, although there has been, in the development, the ADU space, there has been a little bit friendly.
They're even making that difficult now. I mean, I don't want to get too much into California, because I could probably talk all day long. But
are you trying to say that California has anti-business policies? Is that making?
Yeah, I am. Unfortunately, I feel like right now, the way things are going, they have anti-citizen policies. They have just in general, what is in the best interest of every citizen in the state.
Right.
You want to solve housing, then make it easier to build housing.
Yep.
You want to solve affordability, then make it more affordable by getting rid of some of the restrictions that only our state has, that makes it very unaffordable here. And I know there's great reasons for it, but unfortunately, when you have a one-party state like this, you have no checks and balances.
Right.
You have it's been so long since we've had someone else come in and had different ideas to challenge the status quo. And when you don't challenge the status quo, you just constantly pile on.
Yep.
In one direction, which I think it's going in the wrong direction.
It has been a supermajority for at least the last 10 to 15 years, and it does mean we're only going in one direction. If we took it to a national level, as an investor, as somebody writing the real report, what is your reaction to presidential policies and presidential politics as it relates to your everyday core business, like buying good deals, fixing and flipping them?
Other than what impact, at least lately, than what impacts interest rates,
right,
there's very little that actually influences day to day.
I agree.
I keep track of it because, one, it's becoming more interesting as I get older. It's
it's a reality TV show for us older people.
It is. It's like when you're when I was a kid, my dad would watch like the World War II movies, and I'm like, what the? You've seen that thing like 3 times. Why are you watching this documentary about the World War II? And now I get it. I'm like, gosh, I'm getting old, man. This is interesting stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as impacting our business as of right now. Now, the crazy thing is that he could say something tomorrow that does impact our business.
It's true.
Half the stuff he says, there's no actual plan to actually lay it out.
Sure.
So I take it with a grain of salt until I actually see a plan.
I would agree with you 100%. Back to local, especially because a lot of the times the things that you build and fix and flip are investment purchases. Are you still like bullish on San Diego as a destination market? I mean, I know we have great weather, but what else do we have as a San Diego market that people want to come here? I mean, if I had it as a rental, for example, the legislation on rents is crazy. So you still believe that San Diego is a great destination?
Destination for who? For investors or for owners, for homeowners?
Well, for homeowners, we talked about the prices are getting crazy. How about for investors?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, like, our whole business is here, our network is here, and so we get a lot of off-market properties to look at. I like it from the standpoint of the depreciation benefits that you get are pretty massive. Right. From the standpoint of long-term hold, again, what worries me in California as a whole, and in any right now, in any one party state that's Democratic leaning, is they are going more and more on the socialist bent. Like, you hear, Mamdani, who's now their, kind of poster child, and they're talking about taking properties away from landlords. Like, it's not that I think I didn't think I would ever see that.
I didn't think I'd ever hear that.
Yeah. But the fact that that is the tendency of the party that is controlling California and has a supermajority, and nowhere in sight do I, at least I'm hopeful, but nowhere in sight do I see that ending. The policies make it tough for landlords, and who knows what they're going to add. Like, our county was just proposing a potential tax hike on the property transfer. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they were going to go 5,000% increase on a property transfer tax to make it to, like, if you're selling a $2 million house, you could spend up to $60,000 on a property transfer tax that right now would cost a couple grand. Yeah. The fact that that's in some conversations around a table, they thought that would be a good idea. Now, they killed it quickly, which is a good sign, but something's coming, and it always does. And that's what scares me about San Diego from a long-term investment standpoint. But it's really hard to beat when you're a full-time real estate investor, it's really hard to beat the depreciation that you get for buying in San Diego.
Talk about cost segregation and how being an investor is essentially a write-off across the board.
Yeah, I mean, right now with 100% bonus depreciation back.
Thank you, President Trump.
Yeah. The amount of economic activity that one thing creates is remarkable. Essentially, we just bought one at the end of last year. I wanted a cost seg to get a last minute benefit on the taxes. We paid $1.2 million for a little 2-unit in Mission Hills. Pretty damn expensive for a 2-unit house, but great setup to add 2 more units. That $1.2 million purchase, with the 100% bonus depreciation and the cost segregation approach, I'm able to write off 30% of that immediately.
Right away.
So
on top of your gross, against your adjusted gross income.
Yeah.
So just lowers you a tax bracket, basically.
Basically, because my active investment is from real estate, and I can claim to be a full-time real estate investor. The way they do it is that you're allowed to use those savings or that depreciation against active income
earnings. Yeah.
So effectively, from a cash basis, I'm instead of paying taxes, I'm just putting that into the equity of a property, and I'm getting the same. From a cash basis, that cash is gone in my mind. Like, I don't get to see it because it's in the property. But at least now I'm building wealth in an asset instead of
writing that check to the government.
I
want to transition a little bit to something we talked about earlier that I think is super important to our business. It's our partnership with realtors. How has partnering with realtors benefited your business? What are they bringing to the table for you?
It's our entire business. We would not exist without our real estate partners. Essentially, they're bringing us properties that we say that need love, right? And in situations where the sellers don't want to go on the open market and they don't want to be, for lack of a better word, can I cuss on this?
You can do whatever you want.
All right, maybe you could bleep it out if it's not if you need to, but they don't want to be dicked around, right?
Yeah.
And right now in our market it's very hard not to be when you go on the open market.
Get a lot of fake. I think we talked about this. You get a lot of straw or fake buyers.
There's a lot of straw buyers out right now. The partners that we work with more often than not, I mean, what they're looking for is confidence, security, clarity, transparency, and that's what we try to provide. We're not always the highest offer, but we go in there, we're constantly putting non-contingent offers out, which is most buyers aren't doing right now.
What entices them to, when they come to you? Is it just that clarity, or a lot of them want to be flippers as well? Like, what do you see from them?
We have offered this JV program to our partners. A lot of them don't. I mean, a lot of real estate agents are very happy just being real estate agents.
Yeah.
So most of them, they just want to do the best for their client with the terms that make sense for their client, and get the dollar amount as high as they can with getting the confidence that it can be closed on time and without a lot of renegotiation.
When they approach you with a deal, when a realtor approaches you or one of your business development managers with a deal, what are you asking them to provide you?
An address.
Just give me an address and I can go from there.
I mean, if you have more information, great. But
sure.
Technology these days, I mean, most of the information is at our fingertips with what we can find online. But, in a perfect world, an address, what is it the seller is after? What are they hoping for? Like if they're looking for an easy sale, but they want market value, then we're not going to be a good fit.
Sure. What's their motivation behind it? Right?
What's the motivation? Does the property need work, or is it clean? We could still buy clean properties, but still, essentially, I think we talked about a little bit on the numbers. Like if a home is worth $1 million, I mean, we still have to pay sale costs. We still have to pay buying costs, and there still is an expense to hold a property. So you're already at least taking, 8-10% off just before you even get into rehab.
Right.
And so there has to be some form of motivation enough for the seller to want to trade some equity for ease, comfort, clarity, security, knowing what they're going to get.
What's in working with realtors and again, in regular property owners in general, what's the biggest pet peeve you have, when somebody comes to you with a deal?
Man, I mean, I am always super gracious that anybody thinks of us when they send us something. Like,
of course.
Even if it's not a fit. I mean, so it's hard to say it's a pet peeve, but I mean, again, what most commonly happens, especially now, what I've realized over the last, or I don't know, 5 years, 10 years now, maybe, I don't even know how long it's been, but since the onset of like Open Door and Zillow offers and all that, everybody wants to know what the cash offer is. So there's, before that happened, like most people would be embarrassed to think that they were selling to a cash offer. Like it was kind of like a behind closed door thing. Now everybody's open about it. They all want cash. So the thing that it probably gives us the most waste of time is we get a property sent to us and we don't really get a lot of information about it, but they say, they want cash offer, and we're say, okay, we'll go figure it out. We'll go run the numbers. And then we do it all, and they end up like, oh, that, they actually did know the price that they needed to sell at, and it was more like market value. So we just kind of spent a whole day on something that, that we could have probably been very upfront when they sent it to us. Like, I get it. We're probably not the resource. There might be other resources like Open Door and Zillow. Well, not Zillow anymore.
Yeah.
Open Door is still around.
And just to follow up with that, like, do people not understand that there needs to be a spread involved, or like, what is the misconception about a cash buyer or an investor company like yourself when they approach? What are they missing?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't understand there needs to be a spread. Like Open Door presents an offer, like they still somewhere have their algorithms online. Like, here's your estimated offer. What they don't tell you is there's an 8% service fee that comes out of that offer. We don't do that. We don't charge a service fee. We just give the net offer. So I think people misconstrue what the actual net offer of these cash buyers are, and then so they don't really see that spread.
Yeah.
The other thing I see quite a bit is, okay, this house is worth 1.3 when it's all fixed up. You can buy it for $900 today, and it's a $300,000 remodel. So they see the spread of 900 to 1.3 of being $400,000, but take out the $300,000, and then you take out all the other expenses related to just buying and selling the home, and you got $20,000 left.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spend $300,000 to maybe make 20.
Make 20.
Yikes. So I think we have this. We put out an offer analyzer as like a free resource to people, so you can actually kind of see the numbers. Like, this is all the numbers that go into buying a home, and even if people are buying straight cash, there's still a cost to that cash. There's not I don't know very many operators in San Diego, if any, that even if they have $10 million in the bank, that they don't have a cost to that capital in some form or fashion. Like, we have a $3.5 million fund. We've got the cash, but I have a cost to hold that money, and so I got to apply that to the property. So
it needs to be making X, and anytime it's not making X, that means I'm losing Y.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. People, I do agree with you. They like to think like, well, you don't have a mortgage, so you don't have to pay principal and interest or interest only, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but still, like, that cash has to be working towards an expected profit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple case studies. You know your deals better than anybody, and I want to talk about this specific. I want to talk about adding units, because everybody's been talking about adding units, and I know your core value business is often just flipping. But talk about a deal that you did where you were adding units and it worked out well.
Well, we'll see if it works out well. We're still we talked a little bit about this on the phone. So we have a 2-unit property that we bought now, like 3 years ago. It took a long
Really?
time. It was 2 units. It was one, townhomes kind of,
Sure.
but not legally separated, so we couldn't sell them separate. So we took those 2 units and we went through the process to add 10. So we finished construction earlier this year, finally, and we're in lease up phase right now, which you're very familiar with. We're getting we try to underwrite conservatively, so we're getting $100 so far, $100 more per unit than we estimated on our pro forma.
Even in a soft market, that's great.
Yes. It is still early, so we've got 12 units to rent. I think we've rented 5 of them. So we'll see hopefully that trend continues. If it does continue, then our value is a little higher than we thought, and our profit will be a little higher than than our adjusted pro forma. But we bought this a while ago.
Right.
And when we bought it, cap rates were lower.
Right.
And so cap rates have gone up, so the value has gone down. So from a standpoint of like cash flow and value, we're still in the green. I'm still very happy that we did it. We learned a ton. But it did take longer than we expected. Of course, it cost a little bit more than expected.
Talk to me about some of those numbers. At 3 years, what did it take to get into this? And then what have been the holding costs or cost sank up till now to get you where you are?
Holding costs is a little bit tricky to know off the top, but we bought it for $725. We I just checked the numbers. We put in about 1.75 on construction.
Building 10 more units, basically.
Building, 10 more units. We have the exit value. Originally we underwrote it, I think, at 4.2. We're now, when cap rates got really high, and they are starting to come down a little bit because rates have come down. It got down to 3.8, but now we're like 4 million value. And our whole cost in there, plus sale costs and everything else, I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of money. Because we did hold it for a while. Plus, again, California did make the density easier, but the fees are still high.
So crazy.
So at the end of the day, I think our investor on that is set to make like a 16-17% IRR. But we plan on holding it. And again, this is kind of where the cap rate's going up does make it harder to sell. But I'm glad because we're going to hold an asset, and based on our numbers, we think we'll be able to pay off a little bit of the capital invested, and we'll be able to cash flow at about 8% annual a year, which it's not.
It gives you options if the market were to go all the way out. I don't really want to get into horror stories, but I do want to ask you, kind of as we're getting to the end of our conversation, something specific. Owning a business that does it specifically, what is We Revive? What are you guys doing that you feel is your competition isn't doing, or that sets you apart from the other companies like yours in the space?
That's a good question. Look, there's some, I'm constantly looking at what, well, not constantly, but I know who plays in our market. We have a lot to learn from them. There's some things that, like, it does feel like everybody has their thing that they do a little bit like better than other people. What do we do? We have in-house construction. The in-house construction allows us to control timelines and control cost and design, I think, a little bit better than others. But then there's still some guys out there that, man, they've got that knack, like, for the design. And but I think the combination of that allows us to make really good use of the dollars that we're putting in, because we have our own in-house project managers. We hire subs. We have our own in-house designer. We have a purchasing manager. We've got this squad that works really well doing what we do. Our cost structure we do some higher end remodels, and our cost structure is probably 10-15% less than others that do high end remodels while hiring GCs. And again, it allows us to. I've been burned by GCs before. I've been burned by internal employees before too. So it's not like we're entirely safe, but when a GC walks off the job, it's really rough.
Versus when it's in-house.
Yeah.
You got it a little easier. Last question, 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I have you on the pod next year, 12 months from now. What goal have you accomplished? What are you coming back here to tell me, hey, this last 12 months I've accomplished this goal?
I'm going to go personal with this.
I like it.
I'm not trying to go take over the world this year. I don't think the market's going to supports it. So, but we are going through some transitions. We had to shrink the team a little bit. 12 months from now, I'm happy if we hit our revenue target, and I like working, but I like to be able to be off when I'm off and on when I'm on. So if I'm working 50 hours or less a week, I'm going on my 2 to 3 vacations where I'm able to fully check out, and we're on our revenue target. Man, I'm happy. I'm pretty simple nowadays.
Brian Daly just said working less than 60 to 80 hours a week.
50 hours. I said 50 hours.
Less than 60. He and I are definitely not getting to that. Brian Daly, everybody, thank you very much. For all those tuning in to the Cash Flow Podcast, we appreciate your viewership, and we'll see you next week.